Listen to me. Ain't nobody coming to save you. Let that hit your soul. Nobody's showing up with a cape. Nobody's gonna pull you out of bed. Nobody's gonna knock on your door with opportunities in a gift box. You want it, you gotta go get it. You gotta save yourself. Too many of y'all sitting there waiting on a sign, waiting on support, waiting for the perfect time. Let me give it to you real. The perfect time is a lie. Stop lying to yourself. Nobody's coming. Not your mom, not your dad, not your friend, not your mentor, not your boss, not some miracle from the sky. Nobody is showing up to hand you the life you keep dreaming about. And the sooner you accept that truth, the sooner you take back your power. You've been sitting around hoping for someone to notice your struggle, hoping for someone to invest in you, hoping for a phone call, an opportunity, a break. But hope without action is a slow death. You don't need another person to see your potential. You need to start seeing it yourself and moving like it's real. Too many people are sitting in their pain, comfortable in discomfort, because it's easier to wait than it is to work. It's easier to complain than to climb. But the climb is where your life changes. And you don't get to skip the climb because it's hard. You don't get to opt out of responsibility because life's been unfair. You think you're the only one who's been hurt, the only one who's been let down, the only one who didn't get what they deserved. Everyone's got something, but not everyone chooses to stay stuck in it. Some people use their pain as fuel, and some use it as an excuse. The difference is mindset. The difference is belief. The difference is a decision to get up anyway. The truth is, you've always had two choices: stay down or get up. Be a victim or be a fighter. Live in fear or walk in faith. But those choices don't get made once. They get made every single day. Every morning when you wake up, every night when you feel like quitting, every time it will be easier to run instead of face your reality. That's when the choice gets real. And that's when most people hope someone shows up to make the decision for them. But they won't. And if you keep waiting, all you'll be left with is wasted time and broken dreams. You were not born to be rescued. You were born to rise. But rising takes work. Rising takes getting up off the floor when you feel like everything inside you is broken. Rising means believing in yourself when nobody else claps, nobody else supports, and nobody else believes. You keep waiting for a sign from the world, but the only sign you need is your own heartbeat. You're still here. You're still breathing. That means you still have a shot. But that shot means nothing if you don't take it. If you don't push when it hurts. If you don't move when it's messy. If you don't act when it's uncomfortable. We live in a world where people are chasing validation more than they're chasing purpose. You post for likes. You beg for attention. You wait on praise. But the grind doesn't care if you're popular. The grind doesn't respond to followers or sympathy. The grind only answers to effort. Are you putting in the work when nobody sees you? Are you chasing your vision when it's lonely? Are you doing the things that matter or just doing what makes you look good? The grind reveals everything. The grind exposes the truth. And the truth is, if you don't move, nothing moves. If you don't believe, nothing grows. If you don't take that first step, you stay stuck in the same place day after day, year after year. The world owes you nothing. Not love, not healing, not success. The world gave you a life and a body. What you do with it is on you. No one's coming to make you great. No one's coming to fix what you won't face. No one's coming to carry you through the fire you were built to walk through yourself. There's something powerful in knowing no one's coming, because then it's all on you. And when it's on you, that means you're not waiting, you're building. You're not hoping, you're hustling, you're not praying for rescue, you're becoming the answer. You got to step into that role like your life depends on it, because it does. You've got to step out of the mindset that someone else is going to hand you the keys. No one gives away power like that. You have to take it, not from others, but from the weak version of yourself that's been lying to you. The version that tells you you're not ready, not enough, not capable. That version is the enemy. That version is the reason you're still waiting. You need to kill that version. You need to outgrow it. You need to level up your mindset before you can level up your life. Everything changes when you stop looking around and start looking within. The answers are already inside you. The strength, the clarity, the direction. It's there. It's buried under layers of fear and doubt and laziness and comparison, but it's there. And if you would just get quiet long enough, get real with yourself, and commit to doing the hard work, you'd uncover something unstoppable. Something that doesn't need saving. Something that rises because it decides to. Something that doesn't beg, it builds. Something that doesn't wait, it works. Excuses don't build success, execution does. That's the raw truth most people don't want to hear. Because excuses feel good, they're comfortable. They make you feel like your lack of progress isn't your fault. They give you something to hide behind when life gets hard, when the pressure mounts, when the results don't show up fast enough. But comfort never built champions. Excuses never open doors. And excuses damn sure never made anyone successful. What does? Execution. Relentless, disciplined, intentional execution. Every time you say, I didn't have the time, what you're really saying is, it wasn't important enough. You had time. You had energy. You just chose to give it to something else. You gave it to distractions. You gave it to fear. You gave it to procrastination. You told yourself tomorrow will be better, easier, more convenient. But tomorrow's just another today waiting for the same excuse. You don't get to be great by doing what's easy. You get to be great by doing what's necessary, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when nobody's watching. You want results, but you don't want the work that creates them. You want the rewards without the sacrifice. You want the glow without the grind. That's not how this works. You think people who make it are lucky? No, they're consistent. They show up when it rains. They show up when it hurts. They show up when it's inconvenient. And most importantly, they follow through. They don't just talk about it. They do it over again. Because success isn't a one-time event. It's the result of daily, disciplined decisions stacked on top of each other. Day after day, week after week. The problem is most people are addicted to the idea of success, but allergic to the process. They love the fantasy, the image, the applause, but hate the silence, the grind, the sacrifice it takes to get there. And that's where excuses live. And that space between your dream and your discipline. You keep saying, I can't do it because. But the truth is, someone with less than you, someone in worse condition, someone with more pain and fewer resources already did it. Because they stopped making excuses and started executing. They stopped blaming and started building. They didn't wait for perfect. They started with what they had. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do. There will be days you don't feel like it. Do it anyway. There will be days when the results don't match the effort. Keep going. There will be days when quitting will whisper sweet lies in your ear. Fight back with discipline. Fight back with action. Action kills doubt. Action kills fear. Action destroys the grip of procrastination. But you can't act one day and disappear the next. You can't go hard for a week and ghost your goals for a month. This game rewards the consistent, not the convenient. You say you want to win, but your actions look like you want to chill. You say you want to change, but you keep repeating the same patterns. You say you want freedom, but you don't want the pressure that comes with taking full control of your life. Now understand this, your excuses are stealing from your future. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you rob yourself of growth. Every time you say, I'm not ready, you push your breakthrough further away. Every time you say it's too hard, you lower your standard and hand your power to circumstances. Execution is what separates talkers from doers, dreamers from achievers, wannabes from winners. You want to know who's real? Watch their consistency. Don't listen to the words. They're cheap. Watch the habits. Watch how they show up in private, not just in public. Watch how they handle adversity, how they respond when things don't go their way. Because that's where success is forged. Not in moments of comfort, but in the middle of chaos. You get what you repeat. You become what you consistently do. So if you want to win, your habits better match your hung. You don't need another motivational video. You don't need another quote. You need a plan and the discipline to execute it daily. You need to stop talking about what you're going to do and start becoming the person who does it. Execution is louder than intention. It doesn't need announcements. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't care how you feel. It only knows results. And results don't lie. Results show you if you're really doing the work or just pretending. They expose you. They reveal the truth. And if you don't like what you see, don't argue. Fix the plan. Fix the process. Fix your focus. Nobody cares about how many ideas you have. Nobody's going to celebrate your almost. You don't get trophies for potential. You get results from effort. And effort means nothing without direction. Direction means nothing without execution. So ask yourself, are you making moves or making excuses? Are you being productive or just staying busy? Are you building your dream or just dreaming it over and over again while nothing in your life changes? Because if it's not changing, if you're still stuck, if you're still waiting for momentum, it's not life, it's not fate, it's not luck, it's you. Motivation is temporary, it fades. It disappears the moment things get uncomfortable, the moment things don't go your way, the moment life smacks you in the mouth. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. Discipline is what shows up after the excitement dies. Discipline is what keeps pushing when the feeling is gone, when the crowd stops cheering, when nobody is clapping for you. If you're relying on motivation, you're already losing because you're counting on emotion to drive action. But emotion is unstable. Discipline is built. Discipline is created through repetition, through commitment, through choosing the hard thing over and over again until it becomes who you are. People talk about wanting success, but they're waiting to feel like it. They want to wake up inspired. They want to be in the mood to work hard. But success doesn't care how you feel. Success only responds to what you do. Discipline doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't wait for your emotions to catch up. Discipline steps in and gets to work. You think the champions feel like showing up every day? You think the greats were motivated every single morning? No. They had a standard, they had a commitment, they had something inside that said, no matter what, I will show up. That's discipline. You want to know why most people stay average? Because they live their lives based on moods, not principles. One bad night's sleep and they cancel their plan. One rough day at work and they throw away their goals. Discipline says, I don't care what happened. I still show up. Discipline says, I'm not here to feel good. I'm here to get better. Discipline is ruthless, it's quiet. It's not about hype or inspirational. It's about showing up when it's boring, showing up when it's repetitive, showing up when it's painful, showing up when there's no progress, showing up until something breaks inside you or in front of you. That's what separates people. Not who's more talented, not who had a better start, not who got more support. It's who kept showing up when it didn't feel good. It's who trained when nobody watched. It's who prepared when no one believed. Because when motivation dies, the quitters quit. But the discipline, they keep grinding. They keep building. They keep creating pressure until something gives. You don't need motivation to change your life. You need rules. You need structure. You need a system you stick to no matter what. Most people talk about their goals like their hobbies. They treat them like options. They say, I want to lose weight, but they eat what they want. They say, I want to build a business, but they scroll instead of study. They say, I want to be great, but they sleep through their potential. You don't get greatness by accident. You don't trip into success. You build it one disciplined decision at a time. Discipline is brutal honesty. It's facing the gap between what you say and what you do, and then closing that gap every single day. The game is mental. The battle is inside. Your brain's constantly trying to protect you. It wants comfort. It wants pleasure. It wants safety. But discipline isn't safe. Discipline says no to comfort. Discipline says no to shortcuts. Discipline says no to every voice that tells you to take it easy, sleep in, cut corners. And when you've trained your mind to obey discipline, that's when you unlock the next level. That's when you go from average to excellent. Because now your habits carry you even when your emotions fail you. People look at others who are winning and they think, oh, they must be gifted, they must be lucky. No, they're just consistent. They didn't miss workouts. They didn't skip the boring parts. They didn't let feelings get in the way of execution. They were locked in. And locking in isn't about intensity. It's about repetition. It's not about going hard once. It's about going consistently without fail. That's what builds skill. That's what builds character. That's what builds success. Doesn't collapse the moment pressure comes. There will be days you feel empty, days when everything feels like it's going wrong, days when it seems like your efforts are pointless. But those are the days discipline does its work, because that's when most people stop. That's when the excuses sound the loudest. That's when the distractions look the most tempting. And that's where your edge is built. Not when everything is working. Not when life is smooth. But when everything is stacked against you and you show up anyway. Discipline doesn't care about applause. Discipline doesn't need approval. Discipline only cares about the standard you said you would hold. You think you need inspiration, but what you really need is structure. You need accountability. You need to make your goals non-negotiable. Discipline is about putting yourself in a position to win, regardless of the weather, regardless of your mood, regardless of your circumstances. You don't rise to the level of your feelings. You fall to the level of your habits. And your habits are a direct reflection of your discipline. Not what you say, not what you hope for, what you do over and over again, without compromise, without delay, without needing to feel like it. Taking 100% responsibility for your life is one of the most powerful decisions you will ever make. It's also one of the hardest. Because the moment you decide to take full ownership, you eliminate the ability to blame anything or anyone else. Do stop pointing fingers at your past, your parents, your environment, your circumstances. You stop using other people's actions as a reason for your lack of results. You stop saying things like, they didn't support me, they didn't help me, or they made me this way. When you take full responsibility, you declare that no matter what's happened to you, what happens next is on you. That mindset changes everything. It's easy to play the victim. It's easy to stay stuck in the pain and use it as a shield. It's easy to build a case for why your life isn't where you want it to be. Easy doesn't change lives. Easy doesn't build dreams. When you take responsibility, you're not saying that everything was your fault, but you are saying that everything is now your job to fix. It's your job to heal. It's your job to grow. It's your job to move forward. Because if you keep waiting for an apology, for someone to come make things right, for the perfect moment to act, you'll be stuck forever. People spend years of their lives in blame mode, blaming the economy, blaming the system, blaming their ex, blaming their upbringing. And while they do that, their time slips away. Their talent goes unused. Their purpose goes unlived. Because when you give your power away to blame, you give your future away with it. You cannot build anything if you keep handing other people the blueprint. You cannot create anything if you keep giving others the authority over your mindset, your energy, your emotions. The only way to truly level up is to accept that your life is your responsibility completely and without exception. That means your habits are your responsibility. Your reactions are your responsibility. Your energy, your attitude, your results all on you. You don't get to blame distractions if you never build focus. You don't get to blame your lack of progress on others when you're the one who quit on your goals. You don't get to complain about the outcome when you didn't commit to the process. It's a hard truth, but it's also a freeing one. Because if it's on you, that means you have the power to change it. That means you're not waiting. You're working. You're not dependent. You're determined. When you take responsibility, you stop looking outward and start looking inward. You realize that your mindset is the foundation of your reality. And your thoughts become your beliefs. And your beliefs drive your behavior. If you think like a victim, you'll live like one. If you think like a warrior, you'll fight through anything. Taking ownership means recognizing that your perspective is your power. You get to choose how you see things. You get to choose how you respond. Life might throw things at you that you didn't ask for, that you didn't deserve, but your reaction is always in your control. Too many people are waiting to feel ready before they take control. They're waiting to feel confident. They're waiting to feel strong. But responsibility doesn't wait for feelings. It acts in spite of them. It says, this is my life. These are my goals. This is my standard. I don't need permission to rise. That's what separates leaders from followers. Winners from watchers. Doers from talkers. The people who take responsibility don't just dream. They execute. They don't just wish. They work. They don't hope the world changes. They change themselves first. You got to stop looking for people to fix what's broken. You got to stop expecting someone to carry your weight. Your future depends on your discipline, your decisions, your direction. It depends on whether you choose to react or respond, to give up or go harder. Taking ownership is about refusing to let life bully you into settling. It's about standing up for your vision, even when nothing around you supports it. It's about becoming the kind of person who shows up strong no matter what's going on. And taking responsibility doesn't mean you'll be perfect. It means you'll stay accountable when you're not. You'll acknowledge your mistakes. You'll correct your course. You'll face your flaws instead of hiding from them. That's growth. That's real power. That's the kind of character that leads to true transformation. You stop needing to be rescued because you've already decided to rebuild. You stop needing to be validated because you already know what you're worth. And when that shift happens, when you stop outsourcing your life to everyone and everything else, you become dangerous. Not to others, but to doubts, to fear, to excuses. You become someone who can't be shaken by circumstance because you're rooted in responsibility. You become someone who leads themselves, regardless of what the world throws at. You become someone who doesn't just survive, but builds, creates, rises. All because you finally said, it's all on me, let's go. Fighting with focus, not fury, is what separates the ones who last from the ones who burn out. Anybody can get hyped up. Anybody can get emotional. Anybody can explode in anger, throw energy in every direction and call it effort. But that's not power, that's chaos. Fury without direction is just noise. Focus with intention is strength. You gotta stop mistaking movement for progress. Stop confusing rage for resilience. It's not about how loud you are. It's not about how fired up you get. It's about how locked in you stay when the pressure rises and everything around you starts shaking. Discipline and focus are weapons. Precision is power. Some people spend all their time yelling, posting, reacting, proving themselves to people who don't matter. They waste their energy trying to be seen instead of being effective. But real power moves in silence. Real focus doesn't broadcast its next step. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need to prove anything. It just works. It builds, it advances. Because when you got focus, you don't need noise. You got results. Fury feels good in the moment. It's explosive, it's loud, and it makes you feel like you're doing something. But it fades, it crashes, drains you, focus sustains you. It sharpens your energy like a laser instead of scattering it like a grenade. You can fight all day long, but if you're fighting blindly, emotionally without direction, you're not winning, you're wasting. You're getting tired instead of getting better. You're reacting instead of responding. In this life, the ones who react get played. The ones who respond with clarity and strategy, those are the ones who win. There are people who go hard every day, who grind endlessly but never grow. Not because they don't have work ethic, but because they don't have alignment. They're doing everything except the thing that actually moves the needle. That's not focus. That's frenzy. If you want to grow, you've got to learn how to channel your fight. Aim it. Direct it. Make it serve your vision, not just your feelings. That's your feeling. You got to stop fighting everything and start fighting the right things. Stop trying to prove everyone wrong and start trying to prove yourself right. A focused person doesn't chase every battle. A focused person doesn't argue with everybody. A focused person doesn't respond to every slight or insult or distraction. They don't need to. Their energy is too valuable. Their time is too limited. Their mission is too real. So they guard it. They prioritize it. They protect their mind from drama, their schedule from nonsense, their purpose from pollution, because they understand the cost of losing focus. They know one day of distraction can set you back a week. One wrong reaction can throw off your rhythm. One moment of fury can ruin everything you've built with discipline. The enemy of greatness is not always laziness. Sometimes it's the illusion of being productive while being unfocused. Running in circles, chasing everything, responding to every beep and buzz and notification like it's life or death. But success is not a reaction. It's a result of deliberate action. It's not about speed. It's about direction. It's not about being everywhere. It's about being right where you need to be, doing exactly what needs to be done. That's how progress happens. Not in bursts of emotional energy, but in steady, consistent execution. And focus a decision. It's a muscle. It gets stronger the more you use it. You got to train yourself to ignore. What does it matter? To say no to what's not aligned. To stay locked in even when it gets boring. Even when it gets quiet. Even when nobody is cheering. That's where real success is born. Not in moments of rage, but in hours of focus. Not in flashes of emotion, but in the fire of consistency. You've got to learn how to sit in silence and still be deadly. You've got to learn how to move without noise and still shake the ground. People will try to pull you out of focus. Life will throw chaos at you. Distractions will scream for your attention. Your own emotions will try to convince you to blow up, to react, to rage. But you got to ask yourself, does this move me forward? If it doesn't, it's not worth your energy. You're not here to fight every battle. You're here to win the war. And to win the war, you need clarity. You need structure. You need to fight smart. Fury burns out. Focus builds up. When you learn to fight with focus, you stop wasting time, stop chasing approval, stop reacting to noise. You become dangerous in the best way possible, not because you're loud, but because you're locked in. Not because you're emotional, but because you're intentional. Not because you fight with rage, but because you fight with purpose. Being your own hero means stepping up for yourself in ways nobody else ever has. It means choosing not to wait for someone to lift you, fix you, save you, or push you. It means becoming the person you always wished you had in your corner. Most people are waiting for a mentor, a partner, a miracle, someone who will recognize their value and elevate them. But the truth is, nobody knows your vision like you do. Nobody feels your pain like you do. Nobody sees your dream the way you do. So why would you expect someone else to carry a weight that was placed on your shoulder? You were given a vision for a reason. You were handed your struggle, your fire, your setbacks for a purpose. And the only one equipped to handle them is you. You keep hoping that someone's going to notice you, reach out, pick you up, and walk you into your destiny, but they're not coming. You're going to have to dig yourself out. You're going to have to look in the mirror and decide, once and for all, that you're not going to live one more day beneath your potential. You're not going to live one more minute begging for what you can build. You're not going to keep handing over your power, hoping someone will give it back. Oh, being your own hero isn't glamorous. It's not about wearing a cape or getting applause. It's about showing up when you're scared. Showing up when you feel like you got nothing left. Showing up with shaky hands and a trembling voice, but showing up anyway. Heroes don't wait for the fear to disappear. They move in spite of it. And when you become your own hero, you stop being paralyzed by what you don't have. You stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for someone to choose you. You realize you've had the ability to choose yourself this whole time. Somewhere along the way, you were convinced that you needed someone else to validate you, someone to believe in you before you could believe in yourself, someone to invest in you before you thought you were worth it. But you don't need validation to rise. You need courage. You need courage. You need consistency. You need a refusal to quit. Because no matter how talented or skilled you are, if you don't back yourself, you're going nowhere. Being your own hero means backing yourself when no one else does. Cheering for yourself in silence. Being your own support system when the world goes quiet. The people who win aren't the ones who have the most support. They're the ones who keep going when there is none. They find ways to keep the fire alive, even when everything around them tries to put it out. They don't just believe in their dream. They become the person who can carry it. They don't wait to be motivated. They create their own momentum. They don't wait for life to get easier. They get stronger. That's what being your own hero looks like. It's not a moment. It's a mindset. You have to train yourself to stop looking outward and start looking inward. Everything you need is already in you. The problem is you've been conditioned to doubt yourself, conditioned to compare, conditioned to downplay your potential. But deep down, you know there's more in you. You know you were made for something greater. You feel it in your gut. That whisper that tells you to keep going, that fire that won't go out, no matter how hard life tries to smother it. That's the real you. That's the hero version of you. The one that doesn't wait, doesn't fold, doesn't settle. You've got to understand that struggle is part of your story. That pain you went through, that wasn't for nothing. That was building something inside you. Every disappointment, every failure, every time you were overlooked, it was creating depth, creating greed, creating strength. You've been through enough to know that you don't need saving. You need awakening. You need to rise to your own occasion. You need to stop replaying the hurt and start writing the comeback. Because if you don't step on yourself, who will? Heroes are not made in comfort. They're forged in the fire. They're born in the dark. They're created in moments where giving up would have been easier, but something inside said no. You've got that something, you've got that voice, And now it's time to stop silencing it. Time to stop shrinking. Time to stop looking around for help and start looking within for answer. So you don't need to wait for strength. You become stronger every time you choose yourself, every time you show up, every time you do the hard thing anyway. That's how heroes are built. Quiet, relentlessly, day by day, decision by decision. You won't get a round of applause every time you push forward. Oh, boy, sit down, my man. You won't get a pat on the back every time you choose discipline. You won't always see the results right away. But being your own hero isn't about the response. It's about the responsibility to rise when it's easier to stay down. The responsibility to grow when it's tempting to give up. The responsibility to become everything you were meant to be, even if no one claps for you along the way. Because this journey is yours. This life is yours. So now what? Now you stop waiting. Now what? Now you stop blaming. Now you stop blaming. Now you stop doubting. Now you decide right here, right now, to take ownership, to show up for yourself, to stop making noise and start making progress, to fight smart, stay locked in, and never let your feelings write your future. Because nobody is coming. It's always been on you. And that's the greatest news you'll ever hear, because it means you have the power to save yourself. Not someday, not when it's easy. Today, right now, this moment. So rise, move, execute, become, be your own hero, save yourself.